The Cowboys are officially done in Oxnard. Training camp has come to an end out in California, so we're headed into week 2 of the NFL preseason, which means it's time for a game preview here on the channel. Cowboys versus Ravens, Joe Milton versus Cooper Rush, the anticipation. Not really, but on Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central, last week we did a game preview where I kind of went over the entire roster, guys that I thought would be playing, and they didn't play a lot of those guys. But so this week, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm just going to go over a couple of players, guys to watch, guys that I think are going to play and that you should keep your eyes on. So let's not waste any more time and get into it. Like I said last week, Schottenheimer was getting criticized for not playing the Cowboys' young guys or even some veterans that I think needed reps in a very limited preseason now with only 3 games. And I feel like he heard the noise because this week he announced that Tyler Booker, the Cowboys' first-round guard, expected to replace Zach Martin, is going to be playing in this game. I said from the beginning, I said it after week 1, this is literally a must. You have to play your rookies. Even if you think that he's ready for NFL football, that he can go out there and get real-life NFL reps, he has to play in the preseason because of what he's going to have to face in week 1 of the regular season against the Eagles. That defensive line, unlike anything he ever saw at the college level, it's literally not the same. So to get out there with bullets flying, get a few reps, even if they're preseason reps under his belt, is a lot better than him just sitting out and then you throw him out there week 1 and you're like, hey, go block Jalen Carter or double team and then climb to the second level and then get your hands on Zach Bond. Like, it's just not going to work. I think it's really good that Booker's going to be out there. I'm not asking for an entire half of a game or 3 quarters. I'm just asking for them to get some legitimate reps, both ground game stuff, pass protection stuff. Let those guys work together. Even if it's not the full unit, at least you'll have your combinations, right? You'll have Cooper Beebe and Booker side by side. They can work on combo blocks together, how they work in pass protection, what they like to do. Try to do it as much as you possibly can before September 4th, week 1, when you're asking him to block some absolute dogs across the Eagles' defensive line. So keep an eye out for Booker on Saturday night. It's going to be interesting to see how long he plays. Hopefully, we can see him moving some people around. You get him out of there, and then maybe he plays a couple more snaps in week 3, and you feel really good going into week 1. Now let's move on to a guy that's probably going to be running behind Tyler Booker. We're actually going to pair these two together because they play the same position, and that is Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams. I'm not going to complain about Sanders not playing last week because he was dealing with a knee issue, I believe, held him out of practice. He just came back this week. Apparently, he looks healthy and ready to go. He's been a full participant. And this is one of the veteran guys that I was talking about that needs to play, not because he needs real-life NFL reps, but because coaches need to evaluate him. You can take as many reps as you want in training camp where guys aren't tackling to the ground. You're playing against your own team. It's just not the same. Running back is so hard to evaluate when the pads aren't on or they're not in full contact because you can't tell, okay, did he make a guy miss here? Did he stiff arm a guy? Did he break a tackle? You don't really know. People like to hate on the preseason, but at least in preseason football, these guys are going 100%. They're tackling to the ground. They're trying to make the team, so they're going all out like it's their Super Bowl. So I want to see Miles Sanders out there on the field along with Javonte Williams. In my head, these two guys have always been competing against each other. There's a chance that they might keep both. I've seen some 53-man roster projections where they keep 4 running backs and Hunter Lipke, so you're looking at 5 guys in the backfield. But if that isn't the plan, I expect Brian Schottenheimer to want to see both of these guys get not a ton of reps, but enough, and then maybe a couple more in week 3. Like I said, practice is one thing. A game, even though it's the preseason, is a completely other one. I need to see Javonte Williams. I need to see Miles Sanders. Was it his fault in Carolina? Was it the offensive line's fault, the scheme, all of that? With Williams, does he look a little bit better? 2 years removed from that ACL, can he run a guy over? How's he look on 3rd and goal to go? They need to be playing with Jaden Blue out. I don't expect him to play. That's why he's not on this list. Those are 2 veterans. Veterans need reps and need to be evaluated. So we talked about the offensive side of the ball. I was going to talk about Joe Milton. I'm not going to go all in talking about Milton this time, but hopefully the offense is facilitated better than what we saw last week. maybe some other names pop up. Josh Kelly, Trayshawn Holden. I want to see a little bit more Jonathan Mingo. Maybe John Stevens Jr., the tight end, can get out there. Let's go ahead and move on to the defensive side of the ball and talk about Zion Childress, the undrafted free agent defensive back from Kentucky. And I actually just made a Patreon video about him, so if you want to see that all 22, go check it out on Patreon. The NFL has gotten really strict about that footage. They will literally take your video. So I've kind of moved a good bit of my all 22 film study and all that stuff over there on Patreon, so if you want to check it out, you can do that. But in that video, in week 1, he flashed, all right? The run support stuff is great, phenomenal. Time and time again, he was constantly filling his gap, sticking his nose in there, making tough tackles. He literally saved probably a 60-yard touchdown run. He looked good in man coverage. There's a little bit of work to be done in zone coverage, but I thought he looked good there as well. And he apparently looked so good that he was running with the first-team defense in training camp practice this past week. I can't wait to see him back out there on the field, what kind of opportunities he is getting, because if they're planning on playing the starters or guys that are kind of safe on this roster, I expect it to be early in the game. Not necessarily the entire first-team defense or anything like that, but I'm interested to see if Childress is out there with that unit, or is he coming in later in the game in the second, third, and fourth quarter like we saw this past week? Or is he there with the first-team defense and he's not playing a ton? I know he's an undrafted free agent. It sounds crazy because it is crazy to say, that guy doesn't need reps, get him off the field. But I do think it says something that if he goes in early in the game and he's not playing late into the third, early into the fourth quarter, that they feel a certain type of way about him being on this 53-man roster. I'm really excited to watch him, see how he looks in man coverage, zone coverage again. I'm telling you, watch number 48, watch him stick his head in there on run plays and really be a solid run defender. I was extremely surprised. Like I said, if you want to watch that video on Patreon, it's linked down below in the comments and the description of today's video. So now let's go ahead and move on to maybe the biggest worry on this entire team, and it's very likely that Dallas doesn't add to the defensive tackle depth, and the guys that we're watching out there end up playing a pretty big role for this team in 2025, whether really good or really bad, all right? Obviously, we know that Osa Odigizua is the starter, got that massive contract. He's playing the 3-tech. I don't really need to see him play. Don't put him out there on the field. But some other guys that I'm going to be watching that probably are going to get reps pretty early on, they're going to rotate in and out. Jay Toia and Mozzie Smith and Perion Winfrey. Jay Toia did good against single blocks, holding his ground, being able to anchor, not getting pushed around. There are some technique issues, I think, when it comes to facing double teams. Just too easily moved out of his gap, and defensive tackle is just one of those positions that takes a while for a guy to develop and understand how to really be a good NFL tackle. At this point with Mozzie Smith, I'm not sure that that's coming. Like we can say, oh, well, defensive tackle takes a while to develop, so let's give Mozzie a little bit of time. We're kind of at that point, and I think in the Rams game, he had his moments. He's had his moments at training camp as well. And maybe it's ridiculous to even put him on this list because it's like, okay, we're waiting for Mozzie. We're waiting for Mozzie. And how much waiting can you really do? By putting them on this list, I'm pretty much saying you need to watch defensive tackle throughout this game. And if it doesn't look good, Dallas needs to go out and get somebody. We got to start hollering from the rooftops that they got to go get a legit NFL defensive tackle because it looks so bad. As for Perion Winfrey, he has been a solid surprise throughout training camp. He played 5 run snaps in this past game against the Rams. He's, I think, safely on this team. I think even as an undersized guy, he needs to be at the 1. I know he's a little bit smaller. He's not that big space eater that you really want at the position, but he is at this point the best thing that you have. I wouldn't let it stop you from going and getting a legit 1-tech nose tackle, but I would certainly try him there and then let Mozzie and Jay Toia rotate in later in the game. I watched his run snaps. I think he had another 4 or 5 pass rushing snaps. Not as much of a pass rusher, but he held his ground really well in the run game early on against the Rams. If they're planning on letting their safer options, safer players play more, I would like to see Winfrey kind of moved between the 3 and the 1 to see how he handles each of those roles. So that is my list for this game. A couple of guys I just wanted to throw out there and let you guys know. Keep an eye on. We'll evaluate them after the game, kind of figure out where we stand with this roster, especially at the defensive tackle spot and even the corner spot with Zion Childress. I feel like with the offense, we're kind of settled. Defense has got some stuff to work out, whether that be guys getting better in the preseason and practice or going to get another body. So you guys let me know down below, did I miss a player? Is there somebody that you want to see and talk about? I do want to let you know that I'm going to be on vacation for the next 10 days. It's a long time, but 10 days. I do plan on making some content, putting it out. It's not going to be as high production value as this, but I'm going on my honeymoon. What a time to go on a honeymoon, right? We're just getting ramped up with the season, and now we're going on what are we doing? If you could, please like the video. It really helps out here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you hopefully very soon, but this time I'll be in Hawaii. I love you all. Bye.